In this lecture, we are going to start working on Google Calendar integration. So as we all know that Google Calendar is used for creating some online meetings, and we can send the invites to the people, and on the midday of the meeting they can join. So what we are going to do in this lecture is we are going to create a VA page that we did created like for QuickBooks integration, which will be used as a callback URI into our Google application. Then we are going to read the documentation or the authentication API of our Google document, Google integration, because Google has various products, but for all those products, Google uses single API and single authentication. So we are going to talk on that itself. And then we are going to create a connected application into our Google console. You can also read more API about the Google console from the given link. I will be providing the resources into the resource section of this link of this lecture. And we can also talk about Google Auth scopes. Basically, the scopes, that means the label of permission that we provided, that we give to a particular application that we are developing or any other developer is developing that application. And at the end, before we wrap up this lecture, we will also create a test event into the Google with the help of a Google console, because we also have a Google playground from where we can play around and we can try to create the records for Google Calendar, because we are dealing with Google Calendar here in this lecture. So let's start first creating the VA page here. So I am inside my Salesforce org. If you haven't logged in, please log in into your org, and from the setup navigate to Visualforce pages. And here we are going to create, like we have QuickBooks token, we are going to create the similar page. We will say that Google token, and we will not put anything as of now in this lecture in this page. We will update that page into the coming lectures. So I'm just going to make sure that we have, there is no space into the name of this view, and just click on either quick save or save, and then click on this preview button. So why we are clicking on this preview button? Because we will be needing that URL to put that URL into our Google application. So this is the URL that we need. Just copy that URL and you can see that you have got the message. And then after, what you need to do is, I'm just going to open this another browser where I have logged in into my using Gmail here. This is my Gmail that I'm using for this integration course purpose. So what you need to do is, first thing that you need to do is open this URL. From where you can navigate to this URL, I'm going to tell you here. Open a new tab into the Google Chrome or any other browser. Just type this Google API authentication, and you will see the very first link. Click on that link, and once you click on that link, it will open a page for you. And from that page, what you can do is just click on this link. You can see access to Google APIs. Click on the very first link for server side web apps. So once you click here, it is going to take you into the new page over here, and this is the page we are in, and I showed you the very first page. Okay, so what you need to do is, if you scroll down here, you can see go to credentials page. Open this URL into the new tab here, and I already have opened this. So if you are opening for the first time, you will see that you will get like this a wizard. If you are not opening for the first time, you have done some sort of integration earlier, this wizard you will not be able to see. Just accept the terms and conditions, and then click on that button, agree terms and conditions. So once you have opened this and accepted the terms and condition, you will see the screen like this. So first thing, we will need to create a project. So click on this create project button, and once you click on that, it is going to give you some sort of wizard here. I am going to make it as Udemy integration, and then I don't have any organization, even I don't need that. I'll just click on this create. So it will take some time to create that project here. Even you can see over here in this bell icon, it is just it was moving, and now we can see that green sign, green signal. That means we have created our own project. And then once you are done, you can just click on this select a project here, and you will see that you have got this project. You can just select, and you will see, after selecting that project, you will see your project has been selected over here in this. And then what you need to do is just click on this credentials page, and then we need to create the application from here in this credentials page itself. and from where you will get all these details. You can again go back to your API documentation. Here you can see that you have got after this visiting to client credentials page, you can go to OAuth client ID, and we need to select web application. Why we need to select? Because we are trying to integrate where we have some server on the Salesforce side, and we have to integrate. After integrating, we are going to store the details somewhere. That is why we are using this web application. So after you click on this credentials page, you will see configuration consent screen. So we just click on this consent screen, and after clicking on this consent screen, it will take you to this auth consent screen where we need to provide some information. What information we need to provide and why we need to provide, we will be able to talk about in the next few minutes, because I will tell you once we will do all those things. So what we will say is, we will say external, and we can just create it. Now we have created our consent screen here. Now you can see we need to give the app. So I'll say Udemy integration, and there is some support email. I'm going to select mine because I don't have any app logo for now. And then I can just select authorized domain. If you wanted to add, you can just select here, and I'm just going to say the same email that I have got over on the top, and then say I save and continue. So this is we are trying to prepare some auth consent, right? And then we can add some scopes. So we can select add scopes, like we wanted to get the user information, or you can just select all those scopes. You can also add some manual scopes over here. How you can get those? So this is a link from where you can get all the scopes. That means the level of permission that you can provide to your application. But if you want, again, you can just quickly go to Google and say OAuth scope for Google API. So you will be able to see that the first link or second link, you can open this. That is the correct one that you can open just and get all those scopes. So I'm just clicking on update over here, and once I'll update, I will see all those scopes over here, and I will say save and continue. It will ask some optional information I don't want to provide over here, and then this is it. I will just say back to dashboard. Now we have configured our OAuth consent screen, and now let's quickly get back to credentials, and then we will create the application over here. After creating the application, we will be able to get the client ID and client secret, and those client ID client secret we need to use while we are trying to authenticate our Salesforce, or sorry, we are trying to authenticate Google with our Salesforce org. Now click on create credentials and select OAuth client ID. Why? Because this API uses OAuth 2.0. If you see over here, right, you can see OAuth 2.0 is being used by Google to authenticate. Now we need to select application type, which is web application, and then you can say here again, I'm going to give it the same name. I can add redirect URI as we already have that copied, and just add this and create. And after creating this, you can see auth client ID created. You just need to make note of few things, that means client ID and client secret, and put somewhere. So I have this client ID. I'm going to copy this. I will paste this into my notepad. I have this notepad, client ID and then client secret. So these are the few things that I need to take a note. You also need to take a note of all these because we are going to use these. Okay, once we have configured the credentials, next thing is that we need to enable API. Which API we are trying to use over here is, we are trying to use Google Calendar API, right? So click on this API and services, and then click on this enable APIs and services. It will take you to the page where you can get all the APIs provided by the Google over here. So we just need to type over here as calendar, because this is the one we are going to work with. Just select this API and wait for a few seconds. It will give you the complete details about that API, and you can either try this API or you can enable. So go ahead and enable this API. We are going to try this API. You can just click on this link and it will going to take you into the new link which we already have opened. Okay, so now we have created that application, enabled that API. Next thing is that let's quickly read that document over here and try to authenticate. Okay, so if you see here, scroll down. Initially you might see this tab is selected. You just need to select HTTP REST, and just scroll down over here. This is the very first step. So remember, we talked about in earlier lecture, if you are using OAuth 2.0, you are going to have two-step verification most of the cases. There are few cases which are exception we can get in very single step, that access token. We are going to talk those about as well. So we need to prepare that URL. If you scroll down over here, it can give you all the parameters, the client ID, redirect URI, response type, which is always code. What are all the scopes? For the calendar, we have different scopes. What is access type? Define as offline if you wanted to get that refresh token. State, again, this is a recommended way. Why it is recommended? And it is also an important. So when you try to hit the URL and user authenticate, it gives you this state as well, along with the code. So you can validate if the state that you have sent is matching with the state that server has sent. That means then only you can say that the authorized person is correct and your URL is not has been your URL has not been compromised, and your state is secure and you can perform for getting that access token. Because there are possibilities like the hackers are there, and you can get into some vulnerable situation that you don't want it to. And then there is include granted scopes. This is an optional parameter, but what it is, like suppose that you have granted the scope for Google Calendar, and then later on you are using the same application for Google Drive API. So if you set that as a true, so what will happen, it next time when you try to authenticate to Google API, it will automatically give the access to Google Calendar API, because you have previously you have authenticated using the same app. So this is for that. And login hint is something you wanted to provide the username at the login page, you can provide that. Prompt is again optional. What kind of prompt you wanted to provide to the user. So this is also something user can get the consent screen every time. That means they have to they will see like these are all the permissions that you need to provide, or that application will get the access if you provide the if you allow this application. So those are screen can be controlled from this parameter prompt. So this is some similar kind of URL that you will get. I already have, so I can just show you over here. So this is, I just copied every single thing from there. Okay, I didn't did any rocket science over here. Now we need to just replace our things. What we need to replace is, first thing, we just need to copy this client ID and replace in a place of our client ID. We did it. Now we need to replace this redirect URI. For that, let's quickly get back to our screen and just copy this and replace with this whatever redirect URI we have given. State parameter you can just leave as it is for now, because it is a random number. Response type is always going to true. You can just say include granted scope is true or false. Access type is offline because we wanted to get the access token. And then we have this scope. This is very important things that we need to get. What kind of permission we wanted to let our application access once user is giving us the access, because we are trying to develop that app. You just need to go here, scroll down, or what you can do is in the scope in the top itself, if you go to scope here, you can just click on this incremental authorization, or what you can do is you can open the same link. For that, we already have opened this. What kind of API we wanted access is calendar API. We can just click on this is Google Calendar version 3 API. What you can do is you might wanted to provide this, or you might wanted to provide this. What kind of permission you wanted to provide. All the scopes should be separated by a space if you wanted to provide more than one. So what I can say is, I can say if I go to this link, which is where we can try, you will also get this API. So what I want is, I want to give these two scopes permission, right? I can just copy this, provided those two scopes. Even I have already those scopes into my notepad, but I was just trying to show you like how you can get those notepads over here. So that's how you can prepare your URL. Even this is the part of our next lecture, as this was the in the document we just prepared that URL. Now the last thing that we need to do in this lecture is we need to try that API, how it works in from the Google console. So we are here in the Google API. What you can go is, either you can go to the previous screen. From there you can get that try it button. this one API, you can just click on try it and it is going to open a new link for you. Over here you can see Google API Explorer, and here what you need to try is you need to try the events. You can just select events from the right, and you can see what you want to do is you want to insert an event. Just click on insert here, and it is going to open the same window that I showed you earlier. You can see over here, this is the same window that I opened earlier here. What is a calendar ID? Calendar ID is nothing, it's your email. You can just say here whatever the email that you have. You can say calendar ID. If you wanted to put maximum number of attendees, I can say 100. You wanted to send the notification, yes, to the attendees. Send updates, send all the updates. Support attachments, yes, sometimes you wanted to add some attachments into your meetings. And now you can see this is a body where you can add like what is in the date, time zone, date, and then you can say start, and you might also wanted to add like attendees, color ID, conference ID. So there are various parameters that you can provide, and all those parameter description is there in this API. You can just go ahead and learn this. Like start, it is a nested object. Sorry, end and start both are nested objects. You have attendees where you can provide the list of attendees you wanted to. How you can provide? This is the way that you can provide. Like I will just show you a very sample body that I have prepared for creating an event. Over here you can see I have got this. I have just copied that. I'm going to replace this body with that. Okay, and then here I've got different sort of double quotes. I need to replace those. That's it. So now you can see here I have got this. I can't expand more, but if you see I've got attendees where I have given again my email. I said end. I'm giving date time here. So if you have all day event like you are trying to organize some event which is for the full day, instead of date time you need to provide this date, but you cannot provide both at the same time. So this is something you need to keep in mind. Okay, and then you have reminders. Yeah, just use default as a true. Start is something I'm saying 13:11 and 13:11, but time if you see it is 9 and it is 4. And then what I have given summary is something, this is what the title that I wanted to do is, and then location is something udemy.com online platform. So that is what I just wanted to give it like. And if you click here on execute, it is going to take you for the first time. For the first time it is going to take you into the Google login console, where you need to select which email you wanted to allow the access. I'm going to select my same email which I'm using for this purpose. And this is the consent screen, right? We talked about, uh, we configured that consent screen. This is the consent screen which looks like, you can see what all application will see here: view or edit, see, edit, permanently delete all your conditions and all. Just go ahead and allow this, and once you will allow this, it will close this browser and come to your same screen where you clicked on execute button. And you can see here we are getting 200, and we all know 200 is a success code. And sorry for that, you can see this is the ID of our calendar. Status is confirmed. This is the param link. We can just open, we can copy and open that into the new tab for seeing that calendar which we have just created. And then we have created an all, what is all, you can see creator is self is true, organizer again self is true. So there are more attributes that we are getting, and that is how you can create. If you wanted to open that new event, you just open that link into the new tab to see that calendar has been created or not. Now you can see this is something we have got udemy.online platform. That is what we have given, right? This is the platform that we just created, and you can see like who is guest, awaiting, this is title, and all those things, and summary. So that is how you create. So I can say yes. So that is how I accepted here. You can see the background has been changed. So yeah, this is it for this lecture. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll definitely help you